Right, so hello and welcome back. My only question that I've got on my mind right now is, what is going on at Hearts at the minute? Hearts recently announced that they have parted ways with manager Robbie Neilson just under 3 years since he rejoined the club for his second spell. Now, was this a knee-jerk reaction to everything that's been going on recently? In short, no. No, it's been perfectly justifiable. Now, Robbie's second spell in charge is the definition of the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. Now, starting with the highest of the highs, he got the club back promoted into the Scottish Premier League. He then also got them third place, playing European group stage football, which they hadn't done for about 17 years from there. And he got them into multiple Scottish Cup finals. However, the lowest of the lows come from them also having their worst ever Scottish Cup defeat and one of the most embarrassing in Scottish Cup history against Brora Rangers when they lost 2-1, and recently they've gone on a string of losing 6 out of the last 7 games, and that includes 5 on the bounce, losing third place to Aberdeen as it currently stands, 2 points behind them, after having an 11 points advantage over them. Now, for a club that is the size of Hearts, that is an unacceptable run that they have just recently been on. And after last weekend's performance against St Mirren, a 2-0 defeat with Robert Snodgrass getting sent off, I will get onto him later, boos and whistles and jeers rang around Tynecastle from the Hearts fans, and I'm sure Robbie even knew that the writing was on the wall for his second tenure in charge of the club. So with Robbie out the door, Hearts have now announced that Stephen Naismith, Hearts B team manager and former player, will be caretaker manager for the end of the season. And I believe that's a great move from the club. Now, what the club have basically done is they've brought back a former fan favourite. And with that, they've brought in a guy who knows the club inside and out, and he's even part of Steve Clarke's coaching setup, which is clearly working at the national side. Now, of course, there'll be the odd person or two who will be worried about this appointment, which, yes, you can see why that would be the case. Stephen Naismith never officially managed a team other than the B side, and he has just kind of been a coach. But that's kind of the point of a caretaker manager. He gets brought in there to steady the ship and get a performance from the players that Robbie was not getting. So I don't think there's too much of a risk from this. Now, I believe that Robbie Neilson can leave Hearts with his head slightly held up high as well. I know it did not end well, and the majority of Hearts fans were hoping that it would succeed for him. However, he did get Hearts promoted, and he did get them back playing European football, which is fantastic considering the mess that they were in recently as well. However, the results weren't good enough, and he knows it, and he has then sent out a message which has been very well received from the Hearts fans as well. I think they were all thinking, we want it to work out, but it's not quite, and best of luck to Robbie Neilson in the future as well. But what went wrong for Robbie? Well, first off, I think he played favourites a bit too much. He had his players that he liked, who worked in his system, the likes of Mackay, Kingsley, Snodgrass, just to name a few, and when performances from those individuals weren't going so well, he decided to stick with them. Now, you can stick with them for a game or two, but when the performances, week in, week out, for a while, are not at a high level, he's still stuck with them, and the fans got on his back at that. It was also just a bit too predictable in his play style. Now, Hearts, they never had a plan B. And once teams were able to suss out Robbie Neilson, i.e. they give the ball to Snodgrass, Devlin runs around a lot, it was very easy to play against. And that's why teams recently have been doing well against Hearts, and why Hearts haven't been performing at the level that everyone is used to seeing. All the pundits and that. Chris Sutton has said it was a surprise to see Neilson lose his job and an utterly ridiculous decision. That just proves to me that he doesn't watch Hearts enough, because the pundits who are saying this, they've not been watching the same predictable football that's been going on at Heart of Midlothian. They've just seen, it's been a bit of a rocky spell, a few results haven't gone their way, and they've sacked him. That's not been the case. The performances have not been anywhere near the standard that they should have been for a good while now. The injuries, of course, have not helped as well. Losing the likes of Craig Gordon at Christmas time to a double leg break, Liam Boyce at the beginning of the season, not having Benny Benengame for over a year now, Craig Halkett being constantly injury prone. None of these have really helped per se. Devlin being injured, Harry being injured, Gary Mackay-Steven being injured. It's just, they've all added up and it's been a bit unfair on him. However, in January, the recruitment wasn't exactly spot on. James Hill hasn't really impressed a lot of the fans. Oda has not been worth the money that he's been brought in for. He's made no impact so far. You could say the same for Keogh, right in the middle there. And Cool as well hasn't really hit the ground running yet. So what is Stephen Naismith's task? Well, it's quite simple. He has to try and get third with this current squad. One thing that Robbie Neilson also got criticised for was the fact that he never really brought in any youth players. He would bring in players, but no one really from the academy. The hopes that Stephen Naismith has obviously been working with the academy players, he can bring them into the first team setup, the likes of Harry Stone, instead of playing someone like Ross Stewart in goal, as an example of that. Now, the other thing that I do really like about Naismith as well as promoting the youth from within, which he will hopefully do, is the fact that it looks like his first act as caretaker manager is getting rid of Robert Snodgrass. Yes, he's been very highly influential at the beginning when he came in, but his performances recently have not been good enough, and his two bookings against St Mirren were also both very avoidable, and they were stupid challenges for someone that is so experienced as well. Now, he's apparently a bad egg in the changing room. Who knows if that is true or not, but if that is true, Stephen Naismith's made the right call, and best of luck to Robert Snodgrass with wherever he goes in the future, if this is to be true. Now, the club has a massive decision to make. I mean, you're looking at the recent favourites that have been out there on a lot of the bookies' websites. None of them are really too appealing. It's sort of, no one's blowing you away. And that's why the club need to take their time about this as well. They've got Naismith till the end of the season. That's fine. They need to get someone in for May, June, somewhere around then. Get them in, get them having a full pre-season with the squad, and get them getting their philosophy out there as well. That is what the club need to do. Now, looking at the options that Hearts do have according to the bookmakers at this point, here are a few of the names listed out. You've got Naismith at 3-1, who's the favourite, McAvoy 5-1, Robinson 5-1, Neil McFarlane 7-1, Ian Holloway and Gary Monk both at 10-1, Davy Martindale, Chris Wilder and Derek McInnes at 12-1, but my personal favourite one that they've got in there, Craig Levine 16-1. That would be a right laugh. The only way that you could get any more of a laugh is if you got Neil Lennon in the dugout. Now, the reason that I want Hearts to sort of wait until the end of May, beginning of June to get their new manager is because I think they should go out, get an ambitious appointment, and I think that person should be David Moyes. Yes, the current West Ham manager, I think should be the next manager of Heart of Midlothian. I think he would be a very, very good, exciting manager to have at the Tynecastle dugout. Now, I don't think he'll be at West Ham by the end of the season. I think they could get relegated, they could stay up, they will part ways with him. They'll want to progress in a way and really kick on, definitely get into the Europa League if they do not win the Europa Conference League. But I don't think he'll be a part of their future project. So, I think, why not bring him back to Scotland? And he wouldn't get the Celtic job, he definitely wouldn't want to go for the Rangers job as well. So why wouldn't he want to go for the Hearts job? Now, do I think this will happen? Probably not. Could it happen? Maybe. Now, thank you if you got this far for watching the video. Let me know what you think about the whole Hearts situation with Robbie Neilson. Should he have gone? Who should Hearts bring in next as well? And just let me know your thoughts on the club as a whole as well. Thank you very much for watching, and all the best.